Hi, my name is Mark Malecki. I'm an assistant chief pilot for Ameristar Jet Charter, and we're going to show you a walk around on the Falcon 20 this afternoon. We'll start right here with the nose gear. Going to check for the dust cover right here, make sure the dust cover is installed. You'll check the tire to make sure that they're inflated properly and there's plenty of tread on there. Also going to check for proper inflation here on the strut, and the actuator's not leaking any hydraulic fluid. You also have the nose gear door here, which will open. Make sure that there's no leaks and it's fully secured. The back part of the nose gear landing gear door, make sure this is attached properly. Next we'll come up here, check the pitot, make sure there's nothing in it. Static ports, they're clear. Also that the windows are clear, your emergency exit's closed. The latches for the avionics bay, make sure that these are closed also. Around to the other side, same thing, static ports here. Make sure your pitot tubes are clear, the window, and everything's clear here. Your landing light, the final walk around, we'll check the landing light, make sure all the lights work properly. The steering's engaged here. Then back here, to your angle of attack, make sure this works free, up and down. Further back, make sure your emergency exit, that's closed. Then down underneath the airplane, your landing gear, you're checking for proper strut inflation, and the actuator's not dripping any hydraulic fluid. Also make sure that the outside door is attached, and the inside door here, make sure there's no hydraulics leaking off of this. And also your tires have the proper tread and inflation. Come out. And on top, you're going to check down the front end of the motor. You're checking to make sure there's no FOD. You'll also check to make sure that there's no birds or anything inside there. Moving along the wing, check to make sure that your fuel caps are in the facing the proper way. These fuel caps can go on in any direction. Make sure the tab is also facing backward. Along the leading edge, make sure there's no dents on the leading edge. Your nav lights are covered and installed. All your static port, your static wicks, make sure these are installed. Should have a little bit of movement. All your flight controls are hydraulically operated, so you'll have a little bit of movement. You also check, make sure that your hair along here, your brushes along here are clear. You can see right there. Then along the back side of the wing, your air brakes right here, make sure these are stowed properly. Your flaps should be in the up and lock position. Then down on the back side of the landing gear, you're going to check the brake lines here. Make sure you've got no brake fluid leaking from the calipers. Then the back side of the tires, there's no tread missing. The flaps, there's no hydraulic fluid leaking from there. Make sure your cowling is attached properly after you're checking the oils. And then down the tailpipe of the engine. After you check the engine here, you also the pylon vents right here, make sure these are clear. Then moving aft, you're just going to check the top of the elevator here. This is electrically operated, and you can tell, make sure there's nothing's binding, everything's there. Your static wicks are attached to the elevator. And then back along the inside here, you can check there's trim markings on the tail. Make sure that the trim is set, and the mark should be pretty close. And again, in the back side of the left engine, you're checking for FOD, making sure that the blades, there's no blades missing or bent from the previous flight. Then you're going to check inside the hell hole. Make sure your 2 batteries are attached. You're also going to check the hydraulic reservoir on the left and the right side. Make sure that they have proper fluid, and the fire bottle. hasn't been discharged. From there, we'll run along the back here, look at the left landing gear, checking the tires, making sure there's no tread missing. Also checking to make sure that there's no hydraulics leaking from it. Check the strut for proper inflation, and check the actuator. The door, make sure there's nothing leaking from the door actuator here. And along, flaps are up, spoilers are retracted, static wicks are installed, brushes are clear. Nav lights, they're in good shape, they look good. Down along the leading edge, again, checking your fuel cap, making sure it's in the proper position. Down along the leading edge, no damage here. And into the front of the tires, you check the tires in the front, everything looks good. And then into the cockpit, and we'll start the cockpit check here in a second. I hope you enjoyed the walk around and the little tour. The Falcon 20 is a great airplane. It's quality built. It's very easy to fly. It's very forgiving, very easy to land. With the trailing link suspension, you can take a low time pilot, put him in the seat, give him some instruction, and he'll be greasing them on like he's a 20-year captain. This airplane, with all the hydraulic flight controls, they early when it came out, they did a Mach 1 test with it, so the aircraft could go Mach 1. That tells you how strong built this aircraft is. It's very forgiving, and I enjoy it. It's a nice airplane to fly. So I hope you enjoyed everything. Thanks.